Jenny Anchondo joining us now with the story of food, the drug of choice for adults. Hey, Jenny.
Yeah, and Angela, eating disorders and even just that body obsession have truly evolved to become issues that impact all populations. There was a recent Renfrew Center study that showed that nearly a quarter of the women seeking treatment were over the age of 35, and that's just the women who decided to get help. One example is Chris Green, a 43-year-old woman who I think that a lot of us can relate to.
Chris Green is a passionate animal lover, a businesswoman, and an Indiana native. She says she has a strong faith in spiritual life, but sometimes wonders why God has spared her for this long.
Sometimes I just feel like, why doesn't God give up on me? I feel like I'm ready to give up on me.
The extreme despair is all connected to food. She says she grew up eating 3 meals a day and was rewarded with dessert when she cleaned her plate. But that relationship with food evolved. It now consumes her life and numbs her emotions like a drug habit she just can't kick.
That sugar that will soothe whatever it is that I'm struggling with.
It doesn't stop with the binge. She also purges and gets rid of the large amounts of food she eats, leading to more despair.
And then it becomes this vicious cycle. I've just done what I don't want to do. I failed again.
A lot of people don't understand.
Renowned eating disorder expert Jenny Anchondo, founder and CEO of Shades of Hope Treatment Center, says for many, it's about numbing out emotions.
See, it's much easier to reach out to food. I mean, you know, order something and go through a drive-in and eat it in the car than to reach out to a human being and say, I need to talk about what's going on with it.
My favorite brownie recipe calls for 2.5 cups of sugar.
Chris relates to the habit of disconnecting with people while drowning feelings out with food.
I can comfort myself with all the food I want and nobody will see it. Nobody knows. Nobody will know that I struggle with these things, and no one will know that this is how I cope.
Anchondo herself battled food restriction, addiction, and bulimia for decades.
But no one ever said, you have a disease. You have an addiction, and it is chronic, it's progressive, and it will kill you if you don't treat it. But the good news is you can treat it.
She says the sign of an eating disorder isn't necessarily an emaciated or morbidly obese frame. For example, Chris is 5'4" and 179 pounds. She regularly restricts food, binges, and purges.
We use food like drug addicts and alcoholics use a substance. It's our substance. It changes the way we feel.
Chris says she is absolutely tormented and overwhelmed by the daily fight with food.
It's struggle after struggle after struggle, and I just completely feel like giving up at times.
Now, at this point in our interviews, Chris acknowledged that there was something wrong, but she did not believe that she actually had a full-blown eating disorder. Jenny Anchondo disagreed. She came all the way from her treatment center in Buffalo Gap, Texas, to intervene. So you can watch our series all week, and tomorrow morning you'll see what happens when Jenny confronts Chris on her behaviors and also offers her some help.
Jenny Anchondo joins us now to continue the story of a local woman who's really desperate for help.
Yeah, and you hear about 80%. So it's like most of the women watching right now are thinking, there's something about me that I don't like.
You look in the mirror and you're like picking yourself apart.
Yeah, everybody does it. A lot of us do. And when we first introduced everybody to Chris yesterday, she admitted that she feels addicted to food. She binges on it and then even purges. Yet she didn't think that she actually had an eating disorder, citing the fact that she's actually overweight. You guys, this is a common misconception leading to many people to not get help, especially adults. Renowned eating disorder expert Jenny Anchondo came all the way here from her treatment center in Texas. She allowed our cameras in during this very intense counseling session that you might benefit from as well. This is Jenny Anchondo.
Hi, and you're Chris?
Yes. First step in the session, getting people like Chris to admit something is horribly wrong. She shared her secret behaviors.
I eat a cake at a time. I will eat until it's gone or until I get physically sick.
She said the food will literally call out to her while she's doing her daily activities.
I want to tell you, Chris, that's exactly what separates a normal eater from a disordered eater is that mental obsession, is that thinking.
McCarty says if you're overwhelmed by guilt after eating, there's a problem.
I don't think of myself as a bulimic because I don't lose weight. You know, I keep gaining weight.
And
Even
what
if you're
that's
doing-
called is denial and delusion.
Pins mom's girl.
Chris does admit her obsession with perfection is scary.
Sometimes I have thought I'm committing suicide very slowly.
Absolutely, you are.
I mean, I have had that thought.
We teach people how to treat us.
McCarty herself battled compulsive overeating. She gained and lost 100 pounds 5 times over the years, then became horribly bulimic.
Then I got very sick. I mean, my liver shut down, my colon shut down. Bulimia is a killer. My want to is different.
She finally got treatment 26 years ago, in her 40s. She says even compulsive dieting can indicate a problem. Have you ever said this before when it comes to overeating?
I am not going to do this. Tomorrow, I am starting over. I am not going to do this anymore.
So how do you stop? Tenny believes in using a 12-step program like Overeaters Anonymous or Anorexics and Bulimics Anonymous. Combine that with a dietitian trained in eating disorders, counseling, or inpatient treatment.
It will change everything in your life.
She came all the way to Indianapolis to offer Chris help.
If you would be open and would be willing, I would like to offer you to come to the 6-day intensive. You know, I have a 6-day that I still do that myself.
Her intensive program at Shades of Hope Treatment Center is designed to let the client diagnose themselves, come face to face with the problem, and teach them how to treat it. Chris wasn't so sure.
My first thought is, no way. No, I'm staying here. I'm not, no.
She said she's afraid. Tenny understands, but had a stern warning for Chris and anyone else going down this destructive path.
You do not have to continue like this, but it has to be treated. It has to be given respect because this disease is out to get us. I'm as close as the telephone.
Now, as of this morning, Chris says she is going to take Tenny up on her offer, but she hasn't yet scheduled that, and she did make that offer several weeks ago. I've compiled a list of local resources, including free 12-step meetings, counseling information, registered dietitians who specialize in compulsive overeating and other disorders. Go to fox59.com for that. Such a hard topic when you think about such young girls, Scott, and it's important to know that these ladies represent just a sample of the youth in our community from different schools, different backgrounds, not necessarily people who are dealing with a specific disorder. But the common theme was that most of them were already at these young ages uncomfortable with their own bodies. They get it at school.
There's a lot of judgment on weight.
Through images coming into their homes.
When you watch TV and stuff, the people, like the prettiest people, like if I can think of the prettiest person that I think is the prettiest in this world, she's skinny.
And even from their own family members.
They will tell you straight up, like, you have gained weight and you need to lose it.
They're learning the only acceptable body size is a thin one.
I hate my body. I hate everything about my body.
If I ask you something and you don't want to answer, obviously. And they're talking specifics when it comes to that hatred.
In my stomach and my thighs. My stomach.
My stomach.
My stomach and my legs and my arms.
My thighs.
Maya Washington went on her first diet in 4th grade.
I brung salads for lunch, and I was eating salads, and that was like our diet.
When I went to graduate school.
Dr. Karen Tonkin deals with this daily at the Carrs Center for Eating Disorders.
For therapy, we generally see kids as young as 8, 9, 10. Our biggest population is probably teenagers, so that 13 to 19 age range. And then we see individuals all the way up to their 60s and 70s.
Raise your hand if you've ever been on a diet. That's 8 out of 10. Raise your hand if you've ever known an adult that's close to you who's been on a diet. That's 10 out of 10. Dr. Tonkin says parents need to educate their children on how everyone's nutritional needs are different.
What I do as a mom or what someone does as a father may be very different than what a 13-year-old needs nutritionally.
She says parents can help by focusing on positive characteristics other than appearance and size.
Are they good at school? Are they a great friend? Do they have a kind heart?
She says focus on athletics too, but for some, even sports become a weight loss venture, constantly comparing themselves to thinner athletes. Tracy Sinkus remembers when she started feeling different.
It was probably when I was like 6 or 7, because I've played softball for 15 years, and like Allie said, you know, like playing softball, everyone's so tiny and little in their uniforms, and I was always the biggest one.
At that age, I was playing sports because I loved playing sports, but a couple years ago, was I playing sports to lose weight? Yeah, I was definitely trying different sports because I wanted to lose weight.
Dr. Tonkin says it's imperative that role models emphasize everyone is created to be a different size and everyone develops differently.
Younger kids are hitting puberty at 9 and 10 years old, where it used to be 13 and 14. And so it can be triggered by that change.
It's clear the food struggles adult women deal with are starting younger and younger.
It's a big mental process as well as physical, because you battle a lot with comparing yourself to other people, and like I said, I've been comparing myself to people since I was like 6 years old, and it just gets worse.
So what is it about you that makes you feel that you are not as valuable, or that something about you is not okay?
I have very low self-esteem.
Raise your hand if you can relate to what she was saying. Yeah.
And then, this is so hard to talk about.
That's why Dr. Tonkin says you have to talk about it, so these young people know without a shadow of a doubt that the body they were born with is an okay one to have. That's what makes you beautiful. A huge thank you to those ladies for being so open and so candid about what they're dealing with on a daily basis. Chances are, if this random sampling of girls is dealing with this, your daughters might be as well. So if you'd like more information on the group that they are involved with, where they discuss issues like this regularly and empower girls and teens to make wise choices, you can go to this story at fox59.com. The group is called Girls Night In.